It's time to talk about a bunch of brand new VR games because I've just returned from Gamescom 2024, hanging out with a bunch of amazing creators and of course a bunch of amazing devs. I got to go hands-on with a ton of brand new VR games that we're going to speak about in today's video. But before we dive into that, please do consider smashing that like button and subscribing as we're on our road to 50k, and I would massively appreciate each and every one of you that join the channel. Now, I do want to lead off with a bit of a disclaimer because there is a couple of things that are still under embargo that I cannot speak about just yet. So yes, I did get to try a couple of games, things like Batman Arkham, can't speak about that just yet, and Metro Awakening, can't speak about that just yet, and Arizona Sunshine 1 Remake, again, can't speak about those just yet, but do stick around on the channel because I'm going to be able to speak about all of those in this next coming week. So keep your eyes peeled and locked to the channel as I've gone literally freaking hands-on with all of these games now, and I have some pretty cool news to be able to talk about each and every one of them. But what I can do is kick this all off with Trombone Champ Unflattened. This is a brand new game coming from Flat2VR Studios, and well, they have literally done what it says in the title, they've unflattened it. This used to be a PC game, and now they have converted this fully into being a VR game. Now, I'll be completely transparent, I was absolutely not really that bothered about this game, and I was not that excited about it going into the demo. But after having played it, I can confirm, actually, this is a really fun game. It's got a lot of sort of uniqueness to it, and they've done a really good job bringing this into being a VR game, giving it the full-on VR treatment. And not only that, it's actually just kind of silly fun to jump into. I can see how this is definitely going to be one of those meme games that's going to sort of be out there on your TikToks and everything else. And not only that, it's going to be a really fun pass and pray thing to sort of do with your family. So this is a definite one actually to check out, and I'm kind of surprised that that is leaving my mouth because I did not expect to walk away from that demo feeling positive about this game, but instead it converted me, and now I am a believer. It's probably going to be a pretty decent game. Next up, we have Action Hero coming from Fast Travel Games. Now, this was an absolute standout game to me from the show because it just was so much bloody fun. It has everything that you'd expect and or want to be in an action game. Now, in this one, it's kind of a mix between sort of like a super hot mechanic and then just an absolute badassery action hero mechanic going in with that as well. So in this, you get to play through different movie scenes, and the way that it works out is that when you move, time moves. So like I said, that's kind of like a super hot element that goes into this, but there's so much more going on with it. Each scene is like its own little puzzle that you need to solve, shooting and blowing up bad guys or raptors. I got to play through one entire full scene of this, and honestly, I cannot wait to dive back in and play some more of this. Next up, I got to jump into Zombie Army VR. Now, this is a game that I've been really looking forward to, and well, it didn't really disappoint. Now, there was definitely a few bugs in this game, but you know, this is early access. I was getting a chance to check this out nice and early, and hopefully they're going to address some of those things by the time it comes out. All in all though, I actually did enjoy my time in this game. Of course, it felt good. I'm going out there just blowing up zombies as you'd expect. There was definitely a few bugs in there. Some of the stuff, just some pretty simple things like being able to grab stuff off the floor, kind of felt kind of janky, and there was a couple of things that are UI based that just kind of felt kind of janky, like your infantry just appears in front of you and things like that. Past that though, this game pretty much stand out. I'm looking forward to experiencing this in its fullness. I really hope that they iron out a few of those bugs, but they have been addressed sort of vocally by me at least. I've told them exactly what was wrong with the game and the things that they can sort of get fixed in time for its release, of which I still don't know the exact date of that. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel, and I have more to share on that very soon. Next up is Ember Souls. Well, this is promising to be like the Prince of Persia of VR, with sort of like free running built into it, some pretty cool powers, and some, you know, bunch of kick-ass sword fighting where you're going to slice and dice some people up. Now, I will say this kind of had that same feeling and combat as something like Asgard's Wrath 2, which is both a compliment and not at the same time, in my opinion, because I don't really think that Asgard's Wrath 2 was the greatest example of a good combat game in virtual reality. Now, it definitely felt a little bit stiff here and there, and it has some work to be done. Again, I've fed back to all the development about this, hoping that this is going to really turn this into a solid game. Now, on the surface, I will say this is actually pretty cool. It's very nice looking, and it ran really, really well. The only things I need to change in there personally for me to make this from like a good game into a great game would be better combat and really just a little bit more diversity in how you actually fight these guys, because they were very sort of dumb AI, if you know what I'm saying. But other than that though, this game's pretty cool. You get a bunch of unique powers. Again, the free running sort of element of this actually felt really good, and I can see how with a few changes this is actually going to be sort of that Prince of Persia itch. Next up, I got to jump into Silent North. Now again, this was a super duper early look at this game. We pretty much got dropped into a singular level of sort of like with a bunch of houses where we could loot and go through the zombies. So this was more about checking out the art style to the game, and of course just sort of getting a feel for what this is going to be in the future. Now I can say for me, this is looking like it's going to be a good game once I get to really get my teeth into this. This is essentially going to be like a DayZ in VR, and I'm really looking forward to this. There's a bunch of cool mechanics that are going to be coming up in this, but essentially what I can tell you off of the surface of this game is a looter shooter versus zombies, PvPvE, and you're going to get in there with a bunch of people that can either screw you over or you can screw them over. Maybe you can team up. A bunch of coolness is going to be coming to this game in the future, and honestly I'm really looking forward to getting back into Silent North once this project is a little further along. So we've got a taste, and from what I've seen so far, I'm liking the look of it. Next up is Grim. This is basically Rust in VR. Next up is Grim, and this is basically Rust in VR. Now, I was a huge Rust fan, gaining up like upwards of 3,000 hours in the game, so I kind of know whether something's going to be good or not when it comes to a Rust game. Now, for me, this one really had some pretty unique elements to it. Like, essentially, you're on like Mars now, and the way that they sort of maintained sort of like a little bit of a difference to Rust is that you have to control your oxygen supply, which you have to go basically to like these oxygen supply refill tanks, refill them up, and you know, continue on your path of not dying or getting destroyed by other teammates inside of it. Now, it's a PvPvE situation going on. If you want to sort of upgrade and get blueprints, you have to take out scientists, and you can also go inside of these dome things where you're going to be able to fight essentially like bears, deer, and some other cool things. When you're inside of these domes, again, it doesn't consume air, so it's kind of a reason to go in there, but it's a high risk situation, risk reward. All in all, if you've played Rust, you're going to know what this is about. It's about surviving, it's about building houses and hopefully building relationships with people so that you don't get absolutely decimated. This one felt really good. It definitely feels still in its earliest stages, I would say, although it's definitely like way further along, but it just feels to me like it just needs a little bit more polish to get it ready for everyone to play. Next up is The Last Stand, and this is the brand new game coming from Soul Assembly. This is a freaking awesome example of what can be done in mixed reality, and not only that, this is actual co-op mixed reality, and the way they have got around the problem of sort of co-op mixed reality is just flipping insane. I really respect what they do in the space, and not only that, but they make some incredible games. So the way this kind of works is you versus a friend kind of screwing each other over as you go through this sort of, experience. Now, you have zombies trying to break into your house in a similar way to sort of Drop Dead the Cabin, and on top of that, you have to defend yourself against the other person trying to mess with you. The way they've actually managed to do this is that your room, you actually look out of your windows in your room, and across from there you will see the other person that you're fighting. You can actually get up to a couple of you in there, and it's really cool. I played this co-op, so me versus another person. Looking over a hallway, I could actually see them, and then I sort of shooting at them, and you can sort of take them out, which essentially is your mission in this, whilst also trying to control the zombies that are coming into your space. You can do things to screw them over, like set off alarms so that it makes all the zombies go to them, or you can do things like close their shutters so it sort of locks them in and sort of gives them a bit of a disadvantage, because the way you earn points in this was by killing zombies still or killing the other player. It's a really fun bunch of mechanics that I really appreciated. I enjoyed every second I spent in this, and this one for me is again another one of those really standout games that I think people are going to love and really makes use of the Quest 3 and its mixed reality features. Next up is Memoreum. This is a brand new game that I'm just stupid excited about. I managed to jump into this and experience it for myself, jumping into a very sort of Dead Space feeling game. Now, this has a very cool, unique aesthetic to it, and on top of that, it's just got a really nice vibe running right the way through it. It's kind of not horror because it doesn't quite tick that box just yet, but it is definitely got some of that sort of sci-fi creepiness going on to it that really kind of keeps you suspenseful the entire time and just ready for anything to happen. There's a bunch of cool enemies in this that you're going to go up against. I faced a few of them in the demo I got to try that really kind of keep you on your toes. It's like these weird freaky alien zombie dudes that come at you, and if you like blast their limbs off, they have a chance to sort of adapt and turn into another freaky creature. You also have like these ginormous freaking creatures that you're going to be going up against, and on top of that, it just had a very cool, unique sort of suspense going out the entire game. Honestly, this one's a really top-notch experience, and I cannot wait for this one to actually drop on the Quest. Of course, as that happens, I'll have more news to share on the channel about the game. Next up is Walltown Wonders. Now, this comes from the makers of Hubris. They've put their time into this brand new mixed reality experience, which I honestly really enjoyed. This is one of those games, again, that I didn't expect to really care about, but when I got in there and experienced it for myself, it was really cool. The way this is in your home. You're going to be playing in mixed reality, and it turns out you have little people living in your walls. They're going to break out, and you're going to assist these little people to sort of do some really cool things, building out towns and entire cities into your walls over time, flying aircrafts around your room, helping air balloons get to where they need to be, and of course assisting these people in getting sort of resources and all the other things that it takes to manage and grow this town. This is just a really fun game. I highly recommend that you try this out when it comes out, and honestly, for me, this is just one of those, again, standout mixed reality experiences that I think is just really well executed, and they've done a fantastic job with. Next up is Escaping Wonderland. This is a brand new platformer making its way over to the Quest platform, and I really enjoyed this one. I'm not massively big on platformers, but this one had just a certain whimsical about it that just kind of really drew me in. The way you move around the map is by grabbing onto these little weeds and dragging yourself through the map whilst assisting the characters to go and do what they have to do. This just felt really good. It was super clean and polished, and just a really comfortable experience that I think just about anyone could get into in virtual reality. Again, just a very well executed game that looks nice, has an incredible art style about it, and it's just very well executed. So if you like your platformers, I think you're going to absolutely fall in love with this game, and yeah, another high recommend from me. Then we had All on Board. Now, this is a board game coming to VR. Board game, that's a sentence and a half. Essentially, what this is going to be is answering those board game nights, but in virtual reality. So you and some friends can get together and play some dope board games together. This is going to have an MR mode as well, as far as what they told me. So not only will you be able to sort of do this comfortably in virtual reality, but you can also then play it in mixed reality as well, so that you and some friends can get together and you're not restricted to sort of being in just virtual reality. You can also have it in MR to make it super comfortable when you want to just grab a drink, or of course, you know, see a dog running up to you or whatever. So this one's really fun. Not a lot to say on it. You know, we all know what board games are at the end of the day, but it has been very well executed, very good UI throughout the entire thing, and it just felt super easy to get into a game and just start playing. Last on the list is Behemoth. Well, I didn't actually get a chance to replay Behemoth while I was in Gamescom, but as you know, I have fully covered this on the channel before. They were showing a slightly different demo from what I was told from some other creators, where they actually showed another Behemoth off. But if you want to learn more about this game in its entirety, then please do go and watch this video linked up in this top corner. Other than that, guys, that is going to pretty much do it. Like I said, this is all like the smaller games I've spoken about today. We've got some real big hitters that I'll be able to speak about later in this week, things like Batman, of course, and the Metro game. I cannot wait to share more information on both of those, but of course you're going to have to subscribe to stick around the channel so that you get to see my opinions on both of those. Yes, other than that, guys, I had an incredible Gamescom. Of course, my voice is a little bit ruined, so apologies if I sound a little bit more deeper than usual. But you know, I have been doing nothing but talk for like 5 days. I got to hang out with some amazing creators across this trip, so much love to all of those creators that made my trip just freaking incredible. Honestly, if you can think of a creator, I was probably hanging out with them at some point, and it's kind of one of those few times of the year when all of us come together, and it's just nice to be able to spend some time with my fellow VR creators across this. Made for an incredible trip, and of course it sort of led to me being able to talk to you about all of these incredible games. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you've enjoyed. I've borderline lost my voice for you guys so that I could get over there and play all of these games. If you enjoyed this, please do smash like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace out. Bye.